Hey, what's up, Hunter Squad? Alright, today we're going to talk about planes and the hangar. So I'm going to go over to the hangar. A couple different things going on here. So at the first, on the very bottom, is a list of all the planes you currently have in your inventory. I just restarted under this new account a couple days ago, so I don't have very many. You'll notice that this Tomahawk here has a gold outline around it. It's because this is a premium plane as opposed to this Tier 4 Spitfire or this Tier 3 Hurricane, because these are regular planes. And then you'll notice, like this Tier 2 Hawk, how there's a gold icon at the bottom. Same thing with this DH-82. The gold icons indicate that those are elite planes. So there's a couple different types of planes. The ones that have this icon here in the bottom corner, these are interceptors. They're generally pretty good firepower and pretty good durability. But that's what they excel at, is firepower and durability. These three diagonal bars here are turn fighters. They excel at maneuverability and just generally outmaneuvering your opponent. The lightning bolt there is an energy fighter. These are generally fast and agile. They have a pretty good range of ammo, especially in the higher ranks. One I don't have in this list right now is a bomber, which looks like two triangles facing away from each other. The bombers are very heavily armored and armed. They have lots of guns, lots of firepower, and lots of hit points. They're basically flying tanks. They're just not very fast or maneuverable. So those are the different types of planes that you have. And you can see if you go to the plane, I prefer turn fighters myself, so I like this Spitfire a lot. You'll see that there's two different ways you can upgrade a plane. One is over here in the corner where it says research. If you click the research, it takes you back to that research tree we were looking at. So I'm done researching all of the parts I need to get the Spitfire Mark II. I just don't have enough silver, so I have to play a couple more matches. The other way, if I go back, is where it says upgrades. If you click upgrades, it will take you to these options here, and you can add additional hit points or stat points to the plane's performance. So increasing the power here will add 2 to my plane's speed. Redoing the fuselage will add 3 to the maneuverability. Doing the weapon will add 1 to the firepower, and it also adds 3 extra bullets per magazine. So a little extra firepower boost before I have to reload. Armor will add 2 to survivability, and it will cut down on my chance of getting shot up. And so you can upgrade all of these as you level up your plane. Things to keep in mind are that with these, as you get higher level planes, like here I have a bomb rack, it just allows me to carry one 200-pound bomb. Higher planes might have additional options past this point where you can carry multiple bombs, bigger bombs, or sometimes even also rockets. So you can carry bombs and rockets, or bombs or rockets. So what you have available on this screen will depend somewhat on the type of plane that you're flying and also the tier level of that plane. I don't upgrade any of this stuff on the first 3 tiers at all. If it's your very first time playing and you want to do a tournament, pick a tier 4 plane and start upgrading these stats. If you've been around for a while, skip to the tier 5 plane, upgrade that. Upgrade these stats under that option. Because when the tournament starts, the first couple rounds, you'll need either a tier 4 or tier 5 plane to get going. So if you have a tier 4 or tier 5 plane that's maxed out in these stats because you've researched everything, then you'll have a much better time faring against the other people. So those are the upgrades. As a general rule, I don't recommend spending your gold on anything except for paint. Now, the reason I say that is because when you get a new plane, like a tier 4, tier 5, tier 6, whatever, you will get a default paint scheme, which generally does nothing. It's just silver or whatever color the plane is naturally. And there's an option to buy a paint job. So this was the first option. I think it was like 68 gold coins. It gave me +1 to maneuverability. The aqua paint job here also gave me +1 to maneuverability, as did Seafoam, as did Moss did not give me 1. So when you're buying paint, don't just get the cheapest one, but get the cheapest one that gives you a stat bonus. In my case, for this plane, it was Skunked. It's this gray pattern. It gave me +1 to maneuverability. So because this one and this one and this one all gave me +1, I didn't see the need to spend all the extra gold to get the same benefit. Now again, if you're paying out of pocket and you're buying gold, ignore everything I just said and do whatever you want to. But if you're not buying gold, if you're playing it for free, then this is how you upgrade your plane to the maximum benefit. Boosters you can get in the game. You get a lot of these boosters as different parts of your loot crates, like the supply crates that we talked about. The common crates and the rare crates in particular give these things out. So if you have one and you would like to equip it, just equip. So this one gives me 30% silver on top of whatever I've earned at the end of a battle. So there are silver boosters, there are RP boosters, which allow you to get things to research your plane to upgrade to the next level. And then there are also XP boosters to level your plane up to unlock the higher level upgrades. You can have one of each, but only one of each. You can't stack like multiple silver boosters on at the same time. It doesn't work that way. Gun sights, I definitely recommend buying a gun sight. Gun sights will improve your targeting accuracy. It does not matter which gun sight you pick. They are all the same benefits. That's why they cost the same. It's just purely aesthetics at this point. I do recommend, if you can afford it, at the bottom you'll see there's an option for 30 days. If you can drop the silver to get it for 30 days, I recommend doing that. It is a little more upfront, but it is a cost savings in the long run. If you can't do 30 days or you're impatient and you don't want to spend that much silver, get at least 7 days, because you can see that that is less than what it would cost if you bought it 1 day at a time for 7 days. So 7 days at the minimum, but try to go for 30. Get a gun sight. It definitely helps with your accuracy. With supplies, there's lots of different supply options here. When you first start out, your first couple planes only have 3 boxes available for equipment. The most important equipment you can bring with you: fire extinguisher, first aid kit, repair kit. That's it. Don't get anything else. Don't take anything else. The energy one will replenish your energy. What that does is it allows you to use evasive maneuvers and track view and this targeted assist and those kinds of things. If you're flying well, you really don't need that stuff. It will recharge on its own over time. It's not worth it, in my opinion. The gun reloader is useful to an extent, but the guns will reload themselves over time. You just have to wait for it. With the fire extinguisher, the first aid kit, and the repair kit, your plane will not fix itself unless you use this. So the idea here is to mitigate damage that could get you shot down. If you're on fire, your plane will continue to take damage until the fire is out. So if you do not have a fire extinguisher and you catch fire, you will crash. Same thing with first aid kit. If your pilot gets shot and you're bleeding, you will bleed out until you die unless you have a first aid kit. And a repair kit, your plane, if it takes damage, the performance will suffer. Your plane will not handle as well. It won't control as easily. With the repair kit, you can fix it and get back in the fight, and you don't have to worry about struggling to try to fly your plane and getting shot up in the meantime. So those three things are the most important. I recommend them for everybody as your top 3 picks. Then, if you get an extra slot, the gun reloader. Then, if you have another slot, so here's the thing. Down here on the next row, you've got premium stuff. You can't have a regular fire extinguisher and a premium fire extinguisher. It's one or the other. Same with first aid kits, same with repair kits. So, unless I have them here, I don't use the premium first aid kits or the premium stuff. Unless I'm using them in combat for tournament, I save all of this for higher level tournament fights. If I'm just doing a regular battle, it's just the standard equipment. And even a lot of time the tournament fights, I just use the standard equipment. This multifunction toolbox, it seems like a good idea, but it's really not. Because here's what the thing. It is a combination fire extinguisher, first aid kit, repair kit, all in one thing. So it does save you a slot. So what some people will do is they'll put the multifunction toolbox in, and then the gun reloader and the energy reloader, and they think they have everything. The problem is, it has a 32-second cooldown. So if your plane takes damage, and then you use the multifunction toolbox, and then immediately after that your plane catches fire, which I can't tell you how many times that happens to me, you're screwed. Because you have to wait 32 seconds before you can use it again. It's a one-shot use, and then it has to recharge for 32 seconds. So you're much better off taking a separate tool for each type of incident that could occur. The engine coolant I've never used. The one that I do find the most effective, if I have an extra slot in tournament play and I have 5 things open, is this bulletproof glass. Take the bulletproof glass, especially when you get up like past captain level in the tournament. Definitely take the bulletproof glass. I would not recommend using it for regular, everyday matches. You can see I've been stockpiling mine. Just hold on to it. Loadouts is your bombs or your rockets, if your plane is rocket capable. So it will only show up the stuff that plane is capable of purchasing. So again, this will depend on the plane. Premium planes will sometimes have other options here. Bombers will have different options here. But you can buy your bombs. You do not need a bomb if you're just doing a straight team deathmatch. Don't even bother equipping it. If you're doing base defense, however, bombs may be very, very handy, because this bomb does more damage than the standard default bombs that it gives you when you go into that mission. So if you know you're trying to play a base defense game, load up with some bombs and take the bombs with you. Otherwise, just leave it off the plane. Don't even bother putting it on there. And then the ammo. There's 4 different options for ammo. AP is armor piercing. API is armor piercing incendiary. AP is armor piercing. API is armor piercing incendiary. API HE is armor piercing incendiary high explosive, and HE is high explosive. So you can see by clicking on the different ones, AP gives you 5 damage of penetration power. API gives you 1 penetration and 4 incendiary. High explosive gives you 5 explosives, and this one gives you 3 of each. It would seem like the HPI HE is the most powerful bullet, especially because it's twice as much as everything else and it does all kinds of damage. but honestly, I find for the price, it's not worth it. And the same thing with the high explosive. It gives you a 500 time critical hit chance, but your initial chance of getting a critical hit is very small in the first place. So it just makes it go from extremely unlikely to less likely, not very likely to happen. By putting high explosive rounds, it doesn't mean you're going to be blowing up components on your enemy's plane left and right. What I do, I prefer just a straight AP round for basic combat, because I can tear through the planes pretty darn quickly with that. It gives me a plus 40 armor piercing level. If I'm trying to do specifically, like there's a daily mission called Burn where you have to catch the enemy planes on fire, then I might switch to API for those. But otherwise, I just use straight AP. I find them very, very effective, especially for the cost. So that's the breakdown of all the different supplies that you could get and how they work. Again, just to recap, don't bother doing any of the upgrades to the plane until you get at least to a tier 4 plane or a tier 5 plane for tournament play. If you're not fighting that plane in a tournament, there's really not a need to upgrade it. And then the research down here, again, you don't have to research every single component to unlock the next plane, just the ones that are in the path. So I hope this has given you an explanation of how all of this works. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I'll be happy to help out. Until next time.